Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure you like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So, there was a statewide election last night in the state of Wisconsin. It was a primary election for an under-the-radar yet still very consequential Supreme Court election where you do have the control for the state court on the verge because Republicans have four justices. One of them is retiring. They're up for re-election. They're retiring, and they're a conservative. And liberals are potentially looking to pick off that seat so they can have a majority on the court, which would definitely dictate a lot of policy in the state. And there was a primary that took place there last night that I think is worth analyzing. Also, there was a congressional special election in Virginia's 4th congressional district for the seat of Donald McKeon, who passed away in November. This was a seat where Democrats vastly overperformed, although it is a safe blue district. Republicans didn't try, and their candidate was largely touted to be the first black congresswoman from the state of Virginia. So you saw very, very high black turnout in Richmond that kind of dictated the way the special election went. But that's pretty much about it. I wouldn't read too much into it. Republicans didn't really try. We'll be focusing mainly on Wisconsin. But first, I have to tell you guys about our very good friends over at My Patriot Supply. With so much chaos and danger in the world these days, isn't it time you stocked up on emergency food? You're going to need it, so now's the time to get it before it's too late. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and stock up on their popular 3-month emergency food kit. When you do, you'll also get $200 worth of survival gear as a free bonus. You'll need it when things fall apart, the grid goes down, and you gotta fend for yourself. Your $200 bonus gift comes free with each 3-month emergency food kit you order. That way everybody in your family can be well prepared, but the offer will not last forever, so don't delay. Check it off your list and sleep better, knowing your family won't suffer if the worst ever happens. Go to preparewithredeagle.com and enjoy free shipping too at preparewithredeagle.com. So you had this state Supreme Court election that took place. It was a primary election, and you saw the liberal candidate who was widely touted to be the candidate that the liberals would side with, that was going to get in first place more likely than not. You saw them get nearly a majority of the vote. You did see Republicans, or I guess you would say conservative candidates, because they are technically nonpartisan. You saw the conservative candidates kind of go neck and neck there between Daniel Kelly, who was a former judge on the court, and Jennifer Doro, who was the judge on the Darrell Brooks trial. She's somebody that was touted by a lot of people in the WOW counties to be their candidate. And then you have Daniel Kelly. He did pretty well outstate. He still has a base in the WOW counties. Even when he lost in 2020 by 10 points, he still outperformed Donald Trump in those counties surrounding Milwaukee. So it's not really like he really has a suburban problem. And this is something that a lot of people are talking about. They're saying Daniel Kelly is incapable of victory. And I'm not going to sit here and say that he's favored, and we'll get to why that is. But they forget to mention the fact that the 2020 election for the state Supreme Court, where Daniel Kelly ended up losing by over 10 points, was on the same day as the highly contentious Joe Biden versus Bernie Sanders Democrat primary. And when you had the primary election for this, which was on a different day, and you saw turnout about half of what it was come the general election, you saw Daniel Kelly win an outright majority of the vote there. So, of course, they're adding all these voters that did not vote in the primary. They overwhelmingly skewed Democrat, and as a result, Daniel Kelly lost by 10. I don't think that's really a statement to his electability in and of itself, why he lost. Republicans could have put up the best possible judge in the world for that position, and they would not have been able to win. And you have all these people like freaking out about this, when in reality, I don't really see that much of a difference between somebody like Daniel Kelly and somebody like Jennifer Doro. In fact, Doro in her past does have a lot of question marks, like potentially supporting liberal bail reforms, which she has walked back. And either way, I don't really think one candidate is leaps and bounds better than the other. this is going to more likely than not come down to turnout. That's really what it does. And this is a very important election. You look at the role the court has played in the Evers administration, blocking the lockdowns, keeping the state open as early as they possibly could back in 2020. They're the reason why the state doesn't have a Democrat gerrymander, and it's possible that redistricting could ensue if control of the court does shift away from the conservative side of things and if Janet Protasiewicz wins. So this is a very high-stakes election. But the problem that I see here with this primary is the fact that the conservative candidates combined for just 46% of the vote. The liberal candidates, Protasiewicz and Everett Mitchell, who was like the far-left candidate, both combined for 54% of the vote. This is a major problem. And you look into it in like Waukesha County, you look at the fact that Doro and Kelly combined for like 65% of the vote. Those are better margins there than what Trump got either time in Waukesha. I mean, you go up to Washington even, you add up those totals and you see the fact that they were tallying around, 70-something% of the vote there. And you kind of can tell that the WOW counties have a different type of base that's been more invested in Republican politics for quite some time. And then you have like the ancestral Dems in parts of northern Wisconsin, in the Driftless area, which is western and southwestern Wisconsin. And they're not exactly on board with the Dems now. A lot of them did not necessarily vote for Protasiewicz, or at least those ancestral Dems that came out heavily for Donald Trump in 2016 and 2020. Many of them are just disaffected voters who, in many cases, have never voted before, or at least haven't voted in decades. But what we do know is the fact that those voters did not show up. And in a lot of these counties where Donald Trump won, you saw Protasiewicz, like in Vernon County, get an outright majority. Even in counties like Adams County, you add up the liberal candidates, whatever, they were getting in the mid-40s or so. And this is a recurring problem for the Republicans or for conservatives in the state of Wisconsin because they're unwilling to find a way to turn out their voters. It all comes down to the whole turnout operation type of game. These voters exist. They are in high enough numbers for you to turn out to win. You do respectably well in the suburbs of Milwaukee. You do horrible in Madison, even though it's not that large of a population center. And the rural areas are a gold mine. They've been moving right at the presidential level, mainly for Donald Trump. However, these voters are less likely to turn out when Trump is not on the ballot. How do you exactly change that? You're going to need to make a turnout operation. You're going to have to fix your messaging to appeal to these voters and get them to turn out for you. And that's a problem that the Wisconsin Republican Party really has. And they're not going to be able to win as easily in the future if they're not able to rectify that problem. And that much is very true. So looking at it, you can tell the suburbs are moving away. And this is kind of a national issue because in Wisconsin, the suburbs are different. But you look at Atlanta, you look at the DMV area, you look at Northern Virginia there, you look at just across the country, even parts of suburbs in states like Michigan, like you look at Oakland County, that's moving away, Texas, Arizona, etc. A lot of these suburbs and these major population centers have been moving away from the Republican Party for quite some time. And people will say, oh, it's only Trump. Well, you could say Trump accelerated some of these trends, but that doesn't change the fact that like white college-educated women living in the suburbs are like the only white subdemographic that approves of Joe Biden. So they don't like Trump, but they actually like Biden now. So it's like this is kind of deeper than Republican versus Democrat or Trump Republican versus non-Trump Republican. This is a major problem. The suburbs are changing. Our culture is changing. And Republicans would rather double down, try to win back voters they can't win, instead of going after the voters they can win, and then just trashing the voters that they potentially can win, talking about how, oh, these people are horrible. You know, we had such a great coalition in the suburbs, which really doesn't exist anymore. And they say they don't bother voting without Trump on the ballot. Okay, well, what does the GOP do when Trump is not on the ballot? They don't exactly give these people a reason to vote for the GOP. Their messaging is awful. They say these people don't have money to donate to the GOP. Why are they going to be donating to the GOP if they're not really answering to their demands? It seems like Trump is the only guy that can speak to them in many cases, and that's all it comes down to. And you're going to have to do everything you can to turn them out, or you're not going to be able to win. This is how politics works. This is the future of our country as we know it. And Republicans need to get their act together, or they're not going to be able to win this. And that's pretty much it. So can Daniel Kelly win? It's possible, because the electorate you are going to see in the general is likely going to be a little bit different than the electorate you are going to be seeing in the initial primary. But what we do know is they're going to have to go out there and they're going to have to work for every single vote they possibly can get. And that's what they're going to have to do to save the state of Wisconsin. You have people that will complain about Trump getting involved in politics or whatever in this day and age. And those people are dumb, because those are the same people complaining that southwestern Wisconsin won't turn out without Trump on the ballot. Maybe Trump needs to go to southwestern Wisconsin. Even DeSantis should probably get involved in this race as well. Any presidential hopeful should be vying to help out Daniel Kelly in Wisconsin. It's going to bolster the energy among Wisconsin Republicans next November if the presidential nominee did save the state court. And we'll see what happens. Obviously, we'll continue to monitor what's going on in Wisconsin. But either way, Daniel Kelly, he can win. I wouldn't use 2020 as an example for why he couldn't. However, Republicans still have this turnout problem that they're going to have to rectify, and they're going to have to work for every last ballot. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Red Eagle, out.